I know you've been eyeing that 85-inch OLED big screen TV, or maybe you're one of those that you're waiting for Disney to reopen and grab your annual pass. In this video, we're gonna talk about what the stimulus check is. We're also gonna talk about how do you get your stimulus check. And then thirdly, we're gonna talk about what you should spend your money on with your stimulus check. Now, before we jump into it, go ahead and click that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell. There's gonna be new content posted weekly, and if you don't click that bell, you won't be notified. So make sure you click that bell as well. Now, you probably noticed that $1 million check in the thumbnail. I'll be talking about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. The average American is gonna be receiving $1,200. The stimulus check is basically something that came out in late March from the CARES Act. The president signed a bill allowing Americans to get money to stimulate the economy. It's also going to be going to businesses and they'll be able to get aid as well. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to talk about what you get out of it. If you're single, if you're married, you might get a little bit more. I know a lot of people are confused and they think, hey, I'm getting this money. Am I going to be taxed on it? No, you're not. Now, if you haven't received your money yet, it's probably because of one of two reasons. Either you haven't filed your taxes in the last couple of years, or the IRS doesn't have your bank account information. There's also income restrictions as well. So if you make a ton of money, you might not get a check. If you have a bunch of rugrats running around, you're gonna get a little bit more for each of those kids that you have as well. So if you're married, you got a couple kids, maybe there's 5 of you running around, you're gonna get close to $4,000. And no, Mr. Fluffy does not count as a child in this scenario, as cute as he may be. And to break that down a little bit more, individuals who are making less than $75,000 or couples that are making less than $150,000 each will get $1,200. So if it's just you and your spouse, your significant other, it's 2 people, it's gonna be $2,400 that you're gonna get. Now for each child that you have, it's gonna be an additional $500 per child. And like I said before, Mr. Fluffy doesn't count. Now, if you do make more than $75,000 and you're an individual, or if you make more than $150,000 and you're a couple, then you still will get a check. What they're gonna do is they're gonna decrease your check by $5 for every $100 you make. Now, if you make more than $198,000 a year as a couple, or $99,000 as an individual, then you will not be getting a stimulus check. So you might be thinking, hey, I made too much in 2018, I made too much in 2019, I'm not getting the stimulus check. But it's actually a credit for the 2020 tax year. So you might not get a check now, then you might actually get a check in 2020 when you file your taxes next year, because a lot of people are losing their jobs. So a lot of people have not made the same amount of money at this date that they did last year or the year before. So you still have that opportunity to get a stimulus check on your 2020 taxes. I am gonna be making 2 assumptions. One, that you're still employed. Now, if you lost your job during the coronavirus, my heart goes out to you. If your health has been affected by the coronavirus or you know somebody, I am sorry, and my heart does go out to you. So, but we are gonna take that approach and make that assumption that you still have a job. And the second assumption is that you don't have a bunch of debt hanging out there. If you do have a bunch of debt, like credit card debt, then that might be the first place I'd recommend you spend your stimulus check. But wait, don't do that just yet. And here's why. Let me go into a little bit more of why maybe you don't want to pay off your debt right away with your stimulus check. Now, I don't want to go and get political. So not getting political, I don't want to get into any debates or anything, whether we should be getting a stimulus check or not. Matter of fact is just people are getting a stimulus check. The whole idea behind a stimulus check is that you'd actually spend the money. So we could all truck off to Costco, Target, Walmart, and stock up on more toilet paper or bottled water. But is that really gonna stimulate anything? I don't think so. In fact, if you look at Costco or Target stock prices, they're not too far off from what they were in January and February. In fact, Walmart stock price hit a 52-week high in April while the world was locked down. So, is shopping at a big box store something you should do with your stimulus check? You could. Am I saying don't shop at a big box store? I'm not saying that. Plus, a lot of the major corporations, including Costco, Target, Walmart, may be eligible for government aid through the CARES Act. So there's a lot of companies that are already getting aid. Some they have to pay back, some they don't. I just think that there's other places that we can spend our money and buy different things to help actually stimulate the economy. So how should you spend your stimulus check to actually stimulate the market? Remember, to actually stimulate the market, you do have to spend the check. So that's what we're gonna be talking about here. It won't stimulate anything if you don't spend the check. Now, if you did lose your job due to the whole coronavirus and the quarantine, you might want to keep the check to spend on necessities like, well, toilet paper and bottled water. Speaking of jobs, small businesses employ roughly 50% of the US workforce. So it's likely that small businesses and travel and leisure companies are being hit the worst right now. I mean, has anyone been to an airport recently? So yeah, I'm telling you, go spend that stimulus check. Could you buy that big screen TV? Sure. Could you wait till Disney reopens and get that annual pass? Yeah, definitely. However, if neither of those appeal to you, you could start supporting local restaurants. If you average about $10 to $15 per person per dinner, you theoretically could eat out for dinner for the next 2.5 months with your stimulus check. And if food isn't your thing, you could always check out Kickstarter or Indigo and find new entrepreneurs that have new and exciting projects that you may want to back. Also, since we're spending way more time at home these days, I'm sure everyone could use a break from Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. So you could look at funding some new activities for you and your family. You could take up a new craft. You could buy a new board game, you could buy a new toy for you or your kids. You also could try gardening, or you could plant a garden for that matter. There's also outdoor activities you could try. Anyone try spike ball or lawn bowling? Right now is a really great time to also start a garden if you have the space. So look into getting a garden going, or plant those flowers or trees that you've been looking to plant. Walk around your outdoor space and see if there's anything you can add to your outdoor space to help make it more enjoyable. Maybe you can add a little fountain. Maybe you can add a bench. Maybe you can add some trees or bushes or plants or anything like that that's going to improve or help your outdoor space, especially right now with everybody being quarantined. If you have a nice outdoor space that you can enjoy, you're going to feel less confined. And then there's all of us that may still have jobs and we're working long hours, and we have children at home and they're engaged in school using remote technologies like Zoom. So if that's you or your kids or your spouse, your significant other, whoever it might be, you might look at getting some wireless headphones so that you all don't have to hear everybody's conversation on Zoom. Also, what about a stand or a different case for your device so that you don't have to hold it? You can just put it on the desk. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but spending a lot more time at home exposes a lot of those projects around the house that miraculously now you have more time and some money to spend on getting those done. I've spent my share of time in Home Depot lines trying to get in. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about if you've been to Home Depot recently. But before you go trying to tackle one of your DIY projects around the house, be sure you go and check out one of my previous videos before you hire anybody. And make a list on what you need at Home Depot, because you don't want to stand in those lines to get in more than once. Also, if you attend a church, you could tithe a portion of your stimulus check or donate some to charity. So there you have it, my recommendations on how you should spend your stimulus check, which isn't exactly cut and dry. Obviously, it's going to depend a little bit on you, your family, and also what your situation is right now. Whatever you end up spending your stimulus check on, or whatever you plan to spend your stimulus check on, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. So go ahead and tell me what you plan or already bought with your stimulus check. I know you've heard this, and it's true. We are gonna get through this. However, it's gonna be those communities that help support each other that bounce back the quickest. Stay safe, wash your hands, and have fun. Go support a local business, support a cause, a charity, something like that, but have fun with it, and go spend your check. Also, there are some links below in the description to help you find more information about the IRS, the stimulus check, or references to anything that I mentioned in this video. I know what some of you are thinking. Hey, you put that $1 million check in the thumbnail to clickbait us, but really I didn't. There are corporations that are actually getting a stimulus check up to $1.7 million. And how are they doing that? What happens is they've actually had losses in prior years and they're only able to write off a certain amount each year. Now, because of the CARES Act, and my light just went out, they're able to write off up to $1.7 million this tax year. So in essence, they are receiving or could receive up to $1.7 million in a stimulus check. The average individual cannot receive a check of $1.7 million, but if you're a business owner and you have losses that equal that, you could. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Why don't you put a comment and let me know what you think?
As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment.